Well, gentlemen, I just want to just say, first of all, that it is a tremendous privilege to have two gentlemen who are really in their lane of expertise and who have excelled in those respective lanes. Vin, you when it comes to finance and finance consulting and advisory, and Tony when it comes to sales and teaching people the fine art of self-confidence in that particular lane and much more. So I just want to take some time just to introduce you guys to the Mailevation community and academy, and just so that people can really get a little bit of a sense of what it is you gentlemen will be bringing to the table, quote unquote, when it comes to teaching, instructing, and sharing with them how they can elevate in your respective lanes of expertise. So I will begin with Mr. Tony. And Tony, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you joined or you became a part of this stable of instructors for Mailevation, and a little bit about what it is you hope to bring to the table in your particular field?
Thank you, Gaston, once again for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I think that the main reason why I decided to join is I see that there's a massive need in the world right now, particularly as a male. There's a lot of things that we as males maybe don't talk about. There's a lot of things that we don't communicate. We hold inside. A lot of us are maybe afraid to ask for help. Maybe we just don't have that culture, right? I didn't grow up with my father. I know that. And so I had to seek for a lot of information from my immediate friends. And if I was lucky, and they had an older brother or someone that could give me some real life wisdom, I would always take it in because, I knew that it's necessary. And unfortunately, I think that the school system just doesn't cut it, they teach us what they want to teach us. There's not a lot of real life things out there. And, I did eventually, my mom remarried a gentleman by the name of Paul Bradley, who became my mentor, not till I was like 15, however. So he really helped me in changing my perspective about education. He was the first one to point me to specific things that I should learn. And actually one of them, being that we have Vin here, was the investment world, and teaching me all about the different types of investments that exist. And then the second thing he taught me, or he urged me to learn, was sales. Those are the two things that he urged me to learn, that you're just not gonna get in a school. And so I listened to him because he's a very influential man and someone who's done very well in the real estate industry. So I kind of just, took on that. I saw the big need. And so when you ask me, why did I join? I think that's exactly why I joined, because I wish I had something like this, back then. And even today, and I think to have a group of males that come together with different expertises, creating a 360 degree when it comes to the different topics and expertises, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's great. So I came on here and, hopefully as a student, first and foremost, because I'm always a student and I'm eager to learn from people like Vin and yourself and Mike and the other coaches. So, I first and foremost joined because I want to learn from you guys. At the same time, I've always thought that you gotta give as well in order to grow. That's how life works. And so I'm excited to talk about my specific topic, which, as you know, is all about sales. It's about speaking in public and overall just growing our confidence.
Absolutely. Tony, thank you so much. Very, very well said. I am, like yourself, a lifelong and lifetime learner, and certainly just like yourself, just eager to learn more from you and from Vin and the other wonderful instructors we have. So speaking about Vin, so Vin, welcome to this wonderful opportunity that we have at Mailevation. Can you share with the community at this wonderful online academy of men why you chose to join Mailevation, and just a little bit initially of what it is you're going to be sharing with the men to help them elevate in the area of knowledge when it comes to personal finance?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. It's truly a privilege and honor to be here with the both of you and to learn from you guys. It feels incredible to be amongst such great people. That is part of the reason why I joined, to be able to meet great people like yourselves, learn from you guys, but also be able to contribute in a way that I feel is necessary to men nowadays. I think we all see that in this modern day and age, men do struggle with being able to be open about what they need help with. It's often viewed as a weakness, and in many cases, men are trying to compete with one another. When I do believe that there's more strength in collaboration, which is exactly what we're exemplifying through what we're doing here. And yes, a big part of building men's confidence, like Tony mentioned, is being able to be sound in your personal finances. It's hard when you're working, but you don't feel confident about what your money's doing for you. And so men nowadays, there's so much information online. And ironically, even though in a click of a button or a touch of a finger, you can find the answer to whatever you want to know, in this information age, people are still more confused than ever before because they don't have people who they feel like they can trust. And so as I come into this, this opportunity with you all, I hope that I can be that individual, a trusted voice, opinion, authority, if you will, to help these men with, elevating themselves financially, having a sound fundamental understanding of the basics, and not, trying to do all the, high risk, fancy things that, is usually glorified, right? The get rich quick or the hot stock, things like that. I feel like that shiny object syndrome generally does more damage than good. And so I think what can also give men confidence is knowing that they're doing the right things day in and day out, that they build the habits and, building wealth and financial stability from the inside out and not from the outside in. I do feel like there is an inclination for men to chase the external things instead of looking internally and building the right mindset first. And so that's why I joined, and I believe that that's what I can contribute.
Absolutely. And just listening to Tony and yourself, this is exactly why I know that Mike, the founder of the Online Academy, along with myself and Ash, we are excited to have you guys be on this platform so that men can actually not be confused. They know what to do. They have sincere direction from men who have not just the fruit on the tree of their life when it comes to accomplishing in their respective lanes, but really willing to instruct the men. So my next question would be back to Tony. Tony, can you share just a little bit about 2 or 3 things that you are just really passionate about sharing with men when it comes to sales and also communication and the importance of that?
Absolutely. Well, I would definitely start by saying I'm passionate about the psychology behind everything you just said, right? I think that one of the most interesting things that exist is understanding psychology. And I'm talking about, because, you think about sales, you think about understanding the client psychology or the consumer psychology, but at the end of the day, we are the consumer, right? So it's more about understanding self, I think, right? Understanding your own psychology, what makes you tick, what makes you go, what fears do you have? I think that's the core of this broader topic. And I think that that's one of the things that I'm most passionate about, is the psychology behind that. I don't think that there's anything more important when it comes to sales than understanding what the buyer is thinking through your process. And I'm talking about a buyer, but this can be a relationship that you're trying to build, whether it's with a friend, whether it's a work relationship, whether it's with your couple. And I think that the second thing I would say is, how do we communicate our message, right? Maybe you want to say something, express yourself in a certain way, but it doesn't come out the way that you think it does, And so here's something very interesting. And that is that, we as humans connect at a subconscious level. We don't connect consciously. It's not like you meet someone, you're like, oh yeah, let me connect. Let me try to connect with this person. It doesn't work like that, right? And it's probably happened to you guys where you meet someone and immediately you like the person. You don't quite understand why. And sometimes you say it, I don't know why, but I like him. Or vice versa, right? You meet someone, you're like, I don't know. I don't know about this person. I don't know why, but I don't like them. And we say, I don't know why. Well, that means that we're connecting at a subconscious level. And so sometimes you can think you're communicating something, but that individual is taking in something very different. And this has to do, with our confidence, essentially, right? Meaning how we formulate the sentence. And it's not even just the words, because as we know, words is not essentially what communicates, is the intention in which you say it. It's the body language behind that, is your tone of voice, and your conviction. And so I'm super passionate about all of this. And lastly, I would say that I'm passionate about being more self-confident, because it's the intangible factor that makes everything else make sense. Is that intangible factor that can be the difference between you closing a sale, creating an amazing first impression on someone, creating a relationship with someone, whether it be personal, whether it be business. And all this works in the subconscious world. So I'm eager to start. I'm eager to get in depth into that psychology part of it.
That is wonderful. That's amazing, Tony. Something tells me that when you begin to teach these men, they're going to be, quote unquote, how should I say, picking your brain to find out some of these secrets that you've learned to be so successful. And in a little bit, I'm going to ask you to speak about how it has impacted you personally. So up next, I think I'm going to stay on that path. A similar question to you, Vin, if you can. Can you share with us one or two things that you're really passionate about sharing with the men when it comes to learning how to be knowledgeable and stable and productive and successful when it comes to the managing or handling your personal finance?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. Just like Tony mentioned, I do believe in the mindset and the perspective that people need to build to become successful in the area of their life that they're targeting to build success in. Finance is no different, whereby people often have thinking patterns that don't serve them. And I do believe that this needs to be addressed first before going over technical concepts, if you will, about where to put money or how to make it work for you in certain vehicles. People often have fear or anxiety when it comes to their personal finances because, as men, we often have this pressure to earn and provide for our family. And the thing is that we are taught to work for the money, and we're thrown into this game, if you will, that we're not taught the rules. We're not taught how to play the game. And so in any game, if you don't know the rules going into it, you're going to lose. And that's what we see many men and just any people alike just losing in the money game, simply because they were uninformed about how it works. And so I'm excited to talk about, of course, the fundamentals, things like how to be more tax efficient in your approach, because that is a big thing that we all face. But more importantly, like I said, the thinking patterns, not viewing money as something that is negative or that we have negative connotations with. I think a lot of people, they view, they have this belief that more money may be a bad thing because they can't handle the little that they have, and then if you don't know I do believe that if somebody doesn't know how to manage $1,000, then they're not going to be able to manage 10,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000. And so being able to build these proper thinking patterns that are actually going to serve people to handle that responsibility, because that's what I believe money is. It's responsibility, is exciting for me. And I'm excited to bring that to the table.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vin. This is why I'm excited to have both of you gentlemen who are so very learned. And I will use the word expertise, but more than that, I would use the word experienced in the lanes that you guys have chosen to walk on professionally in your respective lives. So the next question I would ask is, Tony, can you share with the men just a little bit about the successes that you've had using some of the strategies that you will be sharing with them? Because I feel that whenever you are teaching someone a concept, I've always said the highest form of an example is a living illustration. So, can you just share with us a little bit of some of the successes that you've had using some of the strategies that you'll be sharing with the men?
Sure, absolutely. Well, obviously, it takes time, right, to learn the base, to have that foundation, to just become more confident overall, and then eventually taking that confidence and then being strategic with it. So I think there's a process, but over the last 30 years that I've been actively trying this stuff out. I know I look young. I am young. I'm 40 years old. I just turned 40. But I think early on, I was around 10, 12 years old when I started in sales, actually. And I started getting really obsessed with it, like, why do people say no to me if I was trying to sell them something? Because I was doing door-to-door sales early on for the New York Times in Los Angeles, selling newspaper subscriptions in the weekends. So I just kind of got really obsessed as towards understanding why some people would say yes, when some people would say no, what could I do? And then understanding that I was so young that some people were like, what is this young kid doing knocking in my door? You shouldn't be working, right? And some people would buy the product just because they probably feel bad for me. And then I was like, okay, well, that's not a bad thing. Now, how can I use this charm to maybe have them buy for the right reasons as opposed to just buying because they feel bad? So it kind of became this obsession to try to learn. And then over time, when I was able to become more confident in just talking to strangers, and then eventually becoming strategic with it and building like a process of sales, eventually what it started to do for me in my life, well, definitely it increased my income dramatically. I will say that I did not graduate from high school. I dropped out at 17 years old. So I didn't chase a traditional career. I didn't chase a professional career, though I did chase the world of sales and psychology. And to be very transparent, I am so glad that I did, because it has been able to do what a traditional career has not. And that is position me today as one of the top most influential real estate agents in the country. I think I was voted top 20 in the country of Mexico. So I'm blessed to now be positioned as a professional in this career. In addition to that, due to the income that I've been able to produce through sales, I eventually bought land. Today, I'm a real estate developer. I have 4 different development companies, and I have other partners as well. I'm a builder here in Tulum. I've sold over $200 million worth of products over the course of the last almost 30 years that I've been in sales. And lastly, it's just allowed me to meet amazing people because I'm not afraid to talk to people. It's allowed me to be in Melevation. It's allowed me to connect with people like Vin and, just anywhere, where because they say that it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. But the question is, how can we meet these individuals, right? How can we position ourselves so that they want to have a friendship with you? Because I think that for me, and this has been for me, if you say, Tony, what's the key to your success? Well, it's not even really been me. It's been people who've helped me get there. But they helped me get there because I created a relationship with them, because they saw me, they saw my hunger, they saw my desire to learn. They saw that I was humble, that I want to be like them. And so they took me on like a student. And so what it's done for me, it's a mixed bag of many things, and I can keep going, about all the successes. But I think it just boils down to the people that it has allowed me to meet that have helped me in my career. Because without my business partners, I wouldn't be able to have 4 different development companies. I wouldn't have been able to have my own entrepreneurship business as a consultant. I'm a sales consultant today. I consult other real estate developers. I'm an investor myself as well in different industries, crypto being one of them, real estate. I have small companies that I'm partner of as well. But I think overall is just the people that it's allowed me to meet, the friendships that it's allowed me to build, because at the end of the day, we can't take anything, right? We just take memories and friendships. So for me, that's probably the biggest, most important thing that is done for me.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you, Tony. That was amazing. And now, just as well, Vin, can you share with us and with the Elevation community one or two principles that you are passionate about teaching, but it has personally impacted your life where you've seen great success, where you have the fruit of that particular accomplishment, achievement, success on the tree of your life, where where you've said, I practice principle A and B and C, and now I'm sharing it with these men so they can have the same benefit and same impact in their life, and they can start winning in the area of finance.
Absolutely. Well, I do believe that, success in business in particular as a professional starts with the benefit and the value that we provide to our clients. So I'm going to start there with, with practicing what it is that I teach. I've been able to help my clients buy their first home. Tony's a real estate agent, and I do believe that now we're seeing a housing crisis in North America where first-time home buyers are feeling priced out of the market. So being able to be somebody that can help bridge that gap and help them get into their first home by building their savings and their investments to put that down payment and sustainably afford their mortgage if that's applicable to them, that has been a success that I've been able to help people achieve, as well as being able to make a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars in people's retirement. I've seen clients go from never seeing anything really grow in their hard-earned investments to being excited about reviewing their account performance, but also helping people send their kids to school with less student debt or no student loans at all. I've seen people just get the generalized cookie cutter help from the banks, and it's been years that they haven't seen their child's money grow for their education, and years go wasted, and that exponentially compounds as you guys might imagine. Being able to change the trajectory of one's savings and investments for the purpose that they actually did it for, and helping them achieve that and accelerate that is certainly a success that I can say. Seeing that impact in somebody's life has also impacted me as well. And on a personal level, actually, I am in a hotel room right now, and I am getting over a sickness, but I am here in Hawaii because we have the top 500 advisors out of over 92,000 that are here to connect and network with each other and learn from each other. So being able to do the right things for the clients, do it right with integrity, has allowed somebody like me over the last 8 years to elevate to becoming in the top 1% in my profession. And, I say that humbly because I know where I came from, but prior to being in leadership, sales, leadership development, personal finances, all these things, I felt like probably a lot of the men that we might be teaching today, lost, confused, and almost hopeless. Not being able to get those associations like Tony mentioned that are going to elevate us and our quality of life. And so now being able to provide that to people, excuse me, I think is, a success in and of itself, just having that opportunity to be able to bridge the gap between somebody feeling like that to having hope for the future, whether it be regarding their personal finances or just the circle of influence that they're building around them, just like I've done for myself. So seeing things compound, like not just personal investments or my clients' investments, but I also believe knowledge and experience compounds as well, right? The more that you know, the next time you learn something, it's now being added to the years and years of knowledge that you've built up, and your understanding of that, it becomes exponentially better than if you had less. And so being able to provide that as a foundation and start that exponential growth of people's knowledge and understanding, and hopefully that also turns into their, something tangible like their personal finances, that excites me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Both of you gentlemen, I feel the tandem of Vin, yourself on Finance Fridays, and on Saturday, Tony, the sales and communication. It is going to be something that men do not want to miss. That's what I truly feel that. So I'll wrap this, how should I say, wonderful, amazing conversation that we're having, slash interview up, with this one question. I'll give this question first to Tony, and then Vin will come to you. Tony, what would you say to that man, that one man who is thinking about joining the academy, wanting to be part of this community, and he's sort of sitting on the fence, and he's going back and forth with his decision? What would you say to that one man to help him take that extra step, to take that to make that action point, to go sign up, to get on board, to be able to elevate and transform his life so that he can dominate in these various areas of his life? What would you say to that one particular individual?
Absolutely. Great question. I would say that everything in life begins with believing. And you have to believe in yourself in taking the decision to do something that's going to positively affect you in your life, right? Because life is all about timing. And I feel a lot of times we wait for the perfect moment. We wait for things are right, for the right conditions. Be it that you're waiting maybe to capitalize yourself to be able to invest in yourself, or maybe you're waiting for that right person who come into your life to take you to the next level, or you're waiting for the right couple, or you're waiting for the right business partner, and then we find ourselves always waiting and waiting and waiting, and as Vin will say, time is money and the clock is ticking, and I can tell you why I joined, why I'm part of this. And that's because I truly believe that the experts that are going to be part of this program, when it comes to the coaches, the people behind like yourself and Mike, I truly believe in myself. And you want to associate yourselves with people that can take you to the next level. There's a great saying that I love that says that if you're the smartest one in the group, you're probably in the wrong group. And I want to think that I'm not the smartest one in this group, which is why I'm in this group. And if you're out there listening and you're kind of on the edge and you still don't know if this is the right program for you, and you probably research on the other stuff, or you don't know where to start here, start now. Do not procrastinate. Procrastination is our biggest enemy. Fear is our biggest enemy. But remember that fear stands for false evidence standing real, right? So you have to go for it. So if you feel it in your heart, if you feel that, what we've said so far, you identify yourself for it, do it. It's a small investment for what you're going to get out of it, which can be life-changing.
Very well said, Tony. Absolutely. And Vin, to yourself, sir, what would you say to a gentleman who is in the, how should I say, he's in the quote-unquote valley of decision, not sure if he wants to take this step? What would you say to him about taking that leap to actually go sign up, become part of the community? What would you say to him to get him to that point where he will commit to that action step?
Yes, I think it starts with understanding our inclination and our human behavior, that indecision causes more problems than making a decision quickly and being able to pivot and adjust. Being around high performers, I understand that not deciding can cause a lot of damage than just figuring it out and moving forward. One thing I could say about that is the reason why people are indecisive, they're weighing out the risk versus the reward. They're thinking, should I do this? Because maybe it's not going to pay out for me. Maybe it cannot benefit me the same way as somebody else. And so we get into our own head a lot of the times and talk ourselves out of things that may actually serve us. Here's the thing. Without risk, there is no reward, generally speaking, for many things. I mean, when you work out, there's a risk you could get injured, but if you don't, you're not going to get healthy, right? And so most people, they have this negative inclination to think, well, maybe I'm the person it's not going to work for. But, when I hear somebody like Tony speak, somebody that went from I think you said not finishing high school, but look at how he speaks today, that should just inspire somebody. Hey, if it could happen for somebody like Tony and I get to learn from somebody like that, then maybe it can also happen for me too. Because I think Tony would also agree that people like us, we're no smarter or any gifted than all these people that we're going to be teaching today. In fact, we're just like them. We just made a decision, a firm decision, a non-negotiable decision that we're going to continue to persist until things work out. And so that's some encouragement that I would give. Another thing that I would say is that a lot of people, they become too smart for their own good. And what I mean by that is that they, we call it paralysis by analysis. We start to be so cognitive and so thinking so much of what could go wrong instead of believing in what could go right. You see, the only thing that is constant is change. Okay, life is going to change. Environment's going to change. The people around you is going to change. And the thing with that is that unless we take risk, we're not going to be able to adapt to change as well as if we, try to keep staying the same. And so we have to be willing to take on risk, because if people think it's risky to do something different, I always ask them, think about how risky it is if you stay the same. If 5 years from now, your associations don't change, if 10 years from now, your level of thinking, your mindset, your knowledge has not changed, that to me is more risky than believing in the change in yourself by taking a quote unquote risk. And so that would be my encouragement and what I would tell somebody who's in that valley, like you said, of indecision. Just move forward and you can always adjust. But one thing you don't want to live with is regret.
Yes, absolutely. Gentlemen, I can truly say I'm humbled, I'm privileged, I'm blessed to be able to stand alongside both of you guys on Friday with Vin and on Saturday with Tony. Tony is the he's the cleanup guy. Both of you gentlemen are gonna do such a spectacular job with just informing and inspiring and motivating and helping these men transform. We are truly, truly blessed to have you be part of the team. I want to thank you for your time today. And like Mike and I always say, transform, elevate, dominate. That's what we are here to help men do at Melevation. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much, Vin, for becoming part and being part of this team of transformational teachers. We really appreciate you. Thank you.